All right, y'all. Every now and then something hits me and I'm like, you know what? I think I need to do that, right? A lot of things that hit me, actually, I don't want to do, or I don't even attempt to do, because I'm a planner. I'm a guy that reads the manual before I start playing with the gadget. So when you come to me with an idea, my first thought is, let's think through this idea. But this one, I said, let's think through this as we do this, because I like this conversation we're about to have. And this segment is called Fuck Up Some Comments, but it's not really F-U-C-K. You know me, I don't curse like that. It's funk up some comments. So yes, it's time to funk up some comments, but y'all can say it like Future did, which is a whole different animal, messing up with those commas. So in this segment, I see a lot of your comments. Obviously, I'm in those comments with you guys because this is a show where we communicate with each other. So for Wiley's World members on YouTube, your comments, you could be as low as just a teammate. You could be any tier. Your comments will be featured in this segment. But for today's purpose, just because I'm a nice guy, I'm going to mix in some member comments with some non-members comments to entice you guys to join the fun. Deal? Deal. All right. Here's the first one, and it's a book. It's from my man Hawkins TTV. He said, we were talking yesterday about Rob Parker and the hot take boot camp. Y'all remember that? Well, here's his comment about it. It would be easy for me to sit here and say, oh, that Rob Parker or that Stephen A. Smith are garbage. Hot take guys who only want to argue and fight all the time and get the last word and how they are right. But to be honest, I think they would be interesting to talk to face in person. There's way more nuances and body languages that you would have that will put the perspectives, thoughts, and feelings into context way better than watching a recording of them. For example, eye contact is a big one, both listening as well as speaking, because it involves acknowledgement and participation. This dude must be hella smart. So being challenged is one of the ways we can learn. If I hear always agreement, then you don't really consider things from other perspectives. So true. Whether I think they are wrong, it can always be an agree to disagree. Doesn't have to be a hard, you are wrong, I am right, and vice versa. Amen. Should never be that way regardless, because no one knows everything about everything. LOL. He's right about that. What I feel about that is, that's why, in part, the spirit of this show is exactly the way it is. It's to communicate, it's to discuss. I'm not coming out here hot taking you guys. I do have strong opinions. I do have strong feelings. They are conveyed. You guys are expressing them as well. I see them in the comments. Now you're going to see them in funk up some comments, right? But the thing about it is, please don't let your ego lie to you like you know it all. And that's why I enjoy to talk with you instead of like I did for 20, 30 years, just talking at you. That's why I keep opening up different ways that we can communicate with each other. Funk up some comments. Obviously, when we get into Wiley's World and our Hall of Fame members that come on, etc. So that was from a member in Wiley's World. Now let's get to some non-members, because y'all out there clowning as well. Now, a lot of these are about our conversation with Malika Andrews. And a lot of people out there are not feeling Malika Andrews. And let me just get into what I felt about the situation. No. Let me not do that, because boy, when I go there, I'm gonna go there. All right, so let's listen to my man at RHH3828. He says, I don't mind when people bring it up, but if you are going to do so, bring up his side of the story. Interesting. He was DDing, I guess drunk driving, and the guy left the gun in the car, and when he asked for it back, Brandon returned it, like any of us would if we got the call that someone else's gun was in our car. He had no idea what it would be used for, as proven in the text messages. Every time mainstream media talks about it, they just say he delivered a murder weapon with no context. F reporting. That is a real one. I will say that because this story went on for so long and people are still torn on should we report it or not, that they're not given the proper perspective and context every time they bring up Brandon Miller's name. You're right. There are no speed bumps. They're just flying through it. Brandon Miller, part of a murder investigation, found not charged, not even found not guilty, not charged, nothing, but they don't get to those details. They just say Brandon Miller, part of this, was under suspicion of, etc. So it kind of ties them into it, even loosely, to something that, frankly, he was never charged for. Give you that one. Let's talk about my man, Atlano Grigsby, 1367, who says, she criticized a dead man. If you're black, she gonna bring up something that happened 33 years ago like it happened yesterday. Y'all stupid. I heard nothing about Miles Leonard since he got back in the league from her. Let's give up a couple more. At Almond Shackleford, 3066. That's why I like Wiley. That's me. It's not black or white. It's right or wrong. Right and wrong has no color. And here's the last one before I get into my take. At Omar Ramon Lopez. Sucker there got 2 first names. Strike 1, Ime Udoka. Strike 2, Kendrick Perkins. Strike 3, Stephen A. Smith. And Jalen Rose was a fake incident. Okay. Let me tell y'all what I feel about Malika Andrews. And it's interesting. Let me first protect her before I come at her. She covers the NBA. And from what I've seen, all of her criticism is about NBA players and anybody who covers the NBA. Stephen A. Smith has to get thrown into that. Okay, so now you're covering the NBA, which is majority black. You know what that's going to just naturally lean you into doing? When you're praising black people. When you're criticizing, guess who you're criticizing too? Black people. Because I saw a lot of the comments said she only does this or she does it with extra spice to black people. Well, her job, her pool of candidates largely are black people. Now, you brought up Miles Leonard, which is real. I don't watch every show she does. I don't know if she's really going there or not. But in that situation, I do know it's leading her to be hypercritical of black people because she has to criticize mostly black people. All right, now, here's the problem with her, though. Her criticism does seem condescending. And it's laced with like some grandstanding. Case in point, when she got on Stephen A's First Take, and when she was on his show, and she thought she was about to run something, and he had to, I didn't even see, he was just like, wait a minute, what are you talking about right here? I understand you got a point to make, and I respect that you want to make that point. I'm gonna respect you by allowing you to make that point. Within respect. The respect seemed like to fly out the window because she thought her point was greater, grander. Grandstanding. I smell that with her. The other point about her is just the fact that, look, she's in a position where a lot of people feel like, where'd she come from? How'd she get here? And then your love for Rachel Nichols makes you just say, I got to pick one, and etc. And her sister's in a position where you're like, where'd she come from? How'd she get that? And that's why I think is going on with Malika Andrews. I watched the show. I like Richard Jefferson. I like Kendrick. I think their show actually is more fun than the actual studio show when they're doing the big games, right? I think that one's a little more interactive and crazy and looser, more fun. If you're going to try and close the gap between them and what's happening at TNT, which is going to be impossible, but I think they got a better chance of the way that they do it. But that said, boy, y'all will light Malika up in those comments. And I do feel y'all on that respect. That look, when you come in hot with your topics, when you come in hot with your narrative, respect that you're not always right. Okay, now let's get into Wiley's world as we normally see it. Right now, we got us a Hall of Famer, Adrian Carr, who's in the building. So let's bring Adrian Carr in here and let's see what he got on his chest. Adrian, what's up, big dog? Another day, another Adrian comment. Let's hear it, brother.
Hey, man, I got a few good ones for you. Kind of deep here a little bit, so let's dive into it.
Let's do it.
So in the offseason, how easy is it to improve on your in-game skills when you're playing ball? Do all players have access to these resources, or is it just the top echelon of players? And just give us some insight into that process.
All right, I love that. Let me start this off by saying you better pray that you're not hurt going into the off season, because then this is the dynamic. This is what happens. You're not getting better. You're just trying to get back to where you were. Meanwhile, all of your competition that is healthy is getting better. So even if you were better than them, you are now behind the 8 ball because your goal is to just get back to where you were. Now, once you get back to where you were, how much time has elapsed between you getting to that place and everyone else who was healthy getting better? That's step 1. Step 2 is when you're in the off season, you got to know how you can attack yourself. Your game plan needs to be, I'm a defender against me. What is my weakness? So if I looked at me, my weakness was my hip bend, and my arms and my handwork wasn't as violent as it could be. So in the off season, martial arts, I would take some of that. In the off season, I would do a lot of yoga and I would do Pilates, trying to loosen up my hips. Why did I have tight hips? Partly the way I was born and the way I was constructed, partly because I didn't know about like hip elasticity till I was older. I was like, what? Your hips can move sideways like that? I was like, I just naturally did it. Then somebody's like, your hips is not as loose as you need them to be. You're a little stiffer than you should be going laterally. Now, I did myself a disservice because I didn't play basketball. You want to know why so many guys stick with basketball even though they know they're not going to the NBA, but they're trying to play football? Because they want that lateral movement, that small space movement. So in the off season, your game plan has to be, what aren't you as good at, and attack that. What else you got, Adrian?
Okay. On a recent episode of Gilbert Arenas' show, he was saying that college basketball is dead because of the results of the draft and all the different avenues that players have nowadays. So what do you think about that? Is college basketball dead to rights?
Yeah, it's dead. I would say this about my own selfish interest, which is very low to any. I don't care for college basketball before the tournament. And I think there's a majority of people that say that. I hear that a lot. But then when the tournament starts, the thing that gets it going is the brackets and the gambling. And since I don't gamble like that, and the brackets, I don't care because they're never going to be right, you ain't got me hooked. You got to hook me with the product. And when I watch college basketball, whoa, that is a bad product. First of all, how many damn perimeter passes must I see before somebody finally attacks down the lane? Pass, 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 fake pass, go back around the world, pass again, fake pass. And then I'm like, dog, this zone defense is scaring y'all. Y'all just attack. And then on top of that, you can see in aggregate, guys in college average 13, 15 points a game. Same dude get to the league, first year, he averaging 21. You know what I mean? He become a perennial all-star. You're like, dog, what happened to you in college? Well, I had to pass around the perimeter. So I just don't like the game. The school spirit is fun. The community is fun, but I ain't gonna lie. College basketball, that's pretty low on my list. Adrian, did I stun you? Did the cat get your tongue? You got one more question? Or get off the screen. What you doing?
Yeah. I got one more question.
All right, let's do it.
What would you recommend someone who is just learning financial literacy or trying to get into that field, into that avenue?
First, get your, what did Too Short say? Buy yourself some money. That is hilarious. He said that, I think it was one of them songs, buy you some, about money. Get a lot of money. Like a lot of this world, man, is confusing on purpose. People go into business every day. People go out of business every day. You know the number one reason why businesses fail? And everyone's gonna have a different answer if they're gonna try and be highbrow and intellectual about it. The answer is simple. They run out of money. And the second reason why they go out of business is they getting tired of spending good money after something that is not working, bad money, right? It's a money conversation. So with financial literacy, the first thing you need to do, beyond like learning how to work with money, is to have some money to work with. And then guess what's gonna happen? You're gonna attract people, because the smartest people, you know when I learned about a CPA? When I got paid. You know when I learned who were the best CPAs and financial planners? When I had money. They are on the hunt. It's like recruiting. Oh, you want to go to college, but they don't want you. Be a good football player. Be a good basketball player. Be a good student. They'll find your ass, right? So I think that the expert level of advice, the next level of like intellectual curiosity with money comes from actually having it. The billionaire guy's CPA is a whole different animal than the guy you're going to find down at City Hall that's just going on the steps. So you can read book after book, and I think that's great to give yourself a baseline of knowledge. But get you some money, and then with that money, show people who are investing that money and those amounts what you got. You'll climb the ladder a lot different and a lot faster when you have something to offer them. Other than that, anybody who's going to give you free advice is going to come from a book, and that ain't even free. Anybody who's just going to say, I'm going to take time with you and you ain't got no money, you're getting what you pay for. So I'm just trying to give you the shortcut. Maybe the one that kind of hurts a little bit to hear, but in reality, they'll find you if you got it. Thank you, Adrian. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you, Adrian. You come back on here tomorrow with some more questions, man. You're a smart dude. I don't know where Adrian from. I got to start asking him some questions because Adrian be putting me on the spot. He's smarter than me. All right, y'all. Now y'all know it's time for the superstar to come in here. Mikey P time. So let's bring in Mikey P and see what he got on his chest. What up, Mikey P?
I got Temple on my chest today. That's what I got on my chest.
You got an owl on you. Ooh, ooh. Is that how owls sound? Ooh, ooh. Something like that. What
Sure.
it do, baby?
Sure. All right, so I'm going to start you off with a Wiley's World question, okay? This is from an all-star at Dan Murphy 7621. Mr. Wiley, great episode. Here is my question for you. As a huge NBA fan, what are your thoughts on the NBA draft and the abundance of trades recently? And then he said, go Lakers.
Oh, man. I shouldn't even answer this, but in the spirit of the go Lakers, what I think of the NBA draft, who cares? Like, I'm not, maybe I'm not the sports enthusiast like y'all are. I did not watch that draft. Once I knew that Wembanyama was going first, and then I was like, all right, I see Scoot Henderson about to go and Brandon Miller. Who the hell got time to be watching like the 18th pick, whatever the hell it is? So I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I did not watch no NBA draft. And let me give y'all a little. Oh, you too? Good. Let me give y'all something else too. And this is hilarious because I used to cover the draft for the NFL. A lot of those guys that are covering it, they ain't into it either. They got this big old book. Watch their desk. It's this big book, right? And they give it to us full of notes. And all it is like paragraphs of what to say when you get to a player. You have no idea who he is, no idea where he's from. You have no idea. You have never seen this guy, heard of this guy in your life. After about pick like 13 for most guys, they tapped out. You imagine the 5th round of NFL draft cast are like, huh? So whenever they drop all that knowledge, it ain't nothing but regurgitation, ain't nothing but cliff notes. Most of the guys, and I am not lying, because I can raise my hand, most of the guys who are covering the draft are top heavy. They know what's up at the top. After that, it ain't nothing but cliff notes.
Likewise for me too there. But anyway, yeah. All right, so next I'm going to narrow it down to a trade that actually happened yesterday. The Hawks sent John Collins to the Jazz, and the Hawks are quote-unquote open for business, okay? So they're saying that everybody but Trey Young and Clint Capella are available. But I'm going to ask you the hard question here. Should the Hawks blow it up and trade Trey Young?
No, I think Trey Young is getting a bad rap, in part because of how he got here. He hit the ground running a little too fast for everyone's liking because you go to Atlanta, and the expectations are lower in Atlanta, let's just be real. And then he had them suckers, what was that, the Eastern Conference Finals one year? And then when he got there, everybody was like, oh, Trey Young can carry this thing. But that was lightning in the bottle. But now that's the expectation. So now we're looking at him more of a disappointment despite him still being great. So I always give this example. I'm going to give it to you again. Trey Young did it the wrong way. If you want to talk about expectations. He did it the right way because, hey, if I could ball, I'm a ball. There's 2 players, 2 defensive ends, and both of them have 15 sacks. Which one you think is a better player? It should be. They both got 15 sacks. They're the same player. But let's see how they got there. Year 1, 10 sacks. Year 2, 5 sacks. Year 3, 0 sacks. The other guy, year 1, 0 sacks. Year 2, 5 sacks. Year 3, 10 sacks. Everybody gonna go with the 10 sack dude, right? What have you done for me lately? But they got to the same place. Who knows what they'll be going forward? Don't blow it up. Keep Trey Young.
Love the analogy. He just needs some help. He needs some help. All right.
That part.
And last, I got a game for you, okay? It's that time of year again. Pro Football Hall of Fame enshrinement is coming up, okay? So I got 2 players here. I want to know whether or not they're Hall of Famers in your eyes, okay? These guys are kind of on the fringe, all right? I'm going to read you the numbers. First, I'm starting off with Fred Taylor, who says, my numbers were better. He says, my numbers were better than the majority of the backs that ever played this game. Guys have made arguments for me, players that are in the Hall of Fame. Here's the stats. 1-time Pro Bowler, 11,695 rushing yards, 17th all-time. He's 66th all-time in TDs. He's 26th all-time with 76.4 rushing yards per game. And he's got 4.6 yards per attempt. That's 32nd all-time. Hall of Fame or no, Fred Taylor? What do you think?
All right, let me preface this. I got in trouble because I did this before on Dan Patrick's show. And when I answered it, I was answering it because are they going to get in? That's a different conversation versus are they really a Hall of Famer? Because the Hall of Fame is all over the place. One case in point, T.O. was a 3rd ballot Hall of Famer. When he retired, he was 2nd or 1st in a lot of categories. Like, how you 3rd ballot and you top 3 all time? So, let me answer this. Are you getting in more so than you're a Hall of Famer? Because I played with Fred Taylor. That's my dog, actually. Still talk to him to this day. Fred Taylor, yes, he's a Hall of Famer. However, is he going to get in? You know what I really feel? It ain't even about the numbers anymore. It's a story that has exhausted itself in terms of pursuing Hall of Fame, that either he's going to be like, who was it, Calvin Hill or something? Not Calvin Hill, Drew Pearson. Like, it's just going to take forever. Like, the last chance you could get in forever, 38th ballot, or you're not getting in at all. And who's going to hold their breath that long outside of Fred Taylor thinking that? I don't think he gets in is the short of it. I think he should be in. Fred Taylor was special. Now, it was shorter, injuries, whatever, Jacksonville off the whatever you want to say it. But Fred Taylor, woo, he a Hall of Famer by game, but maybe not by status.
Consistently a beast on a bad team. Unfortunately, that's going to be the rap, you know. He didn't win enough in their eyes, and that's sometimes weighed a little too heavily. All right, Player number 2, this guy was a winner, but he's on the fringe statistically, all right? Rod Smith, another one of your boys, I believe.
Yes.
He says, I feel I'm deserving, but I don't get to vote. Here are the stats. 8 seasons with 1,000+ receiving yards. He's 34th all-time in receiving yards with 11,389. 2 Super Bowls. He played a key role on both of those teams. 3 Pro Bowls. 2-time first-team All-Pro selection.
Here's the thing. He's 34th in yards. Are there 34 receivers in the Hall of Fame? And if the top 34 in, put Rod Smith in too. Rod Smith, I played against him. I played against him when he was in Denver and they won that back-to-back championships. I was in Buffalo. They was impossible to stop, it felt like. They were tilting. Him, oh man, you had John Elway, obviously, played some good defense. Terrell Davis, goodness, it was hard to beat those boys. And they won it back-to-back. Rod Smith was the best receiver. They had Shannon Sharp too, which was like weird because Shannon got all this love and credit because he was a receiving tight end. So he was like an anomaly to everybody. Like, what the hell? But Rod Smith was a dude. That said, I just don't have a good comp. I don't know if who did they put in worse? Because that's what I would need for Rod. Even though he's my boy, I can't lie. He was damn good. He was better than me. He was sick. He was one of the best receivers in the game. But that ain't Hall of Fame. Hall of Fame is like, you can't tell the story of the NFL without mentioning this guy in some capacity. 8,000 yard receiving years, 3 Pro Bowls and 2 All Pros. They usually say you need 6 Pro Bowls to be in. He ain't get that. The yards 34 all time, I don't know if that's, I mean, it's high as hell, but I don't know if that's great for the Hall of Fame or not. I don't know if there's somebody in there with 40 or not. I would say no. I'm struggling to put him in, and every time I put him in, my grandma slapped me. Boy, you better stop lying. So I don't, look, here's the real answer. He's not going to get in, I don't think. Now, does he deserve to get in? You can squint your eye and make that case, but I don't think he gets in.
Yeah, I think he's probably a little bit closer to get in than Fred Taylor, but I think both are going to get out. I think they're both not going to get in because here it is. The thing is there's other guys that got to get in too. There's a lot of wide receivers that are waiting to get in.
Yeah.
And that's always, I mean, that's the biggest thing with the Hall of Fame is, you know, there's other guys that are going to get in ahead of him, and then you're going to weigh him against the group after those guys get in. You're going to be like, oh, snap. Well, now he don't compare now because you got guys like Calvin Johnson, those types that are going to get in any minute now.
Yeah, that's a great point, man. It's just backlogged. It's a log jam right there. So I get what you're saying, Mikey P. Appreciate you, big dog. Much love.
Yes,
we'll talk it out tomorrow. I don't have those problems. I ain't getting in the Hall of Fame, so I don't give a damn how many people getting in. It ain't going to be me, so I ain't tripping. All right, man, we talk to you tomorrow. Let's do it, brother.